Can you actually have sex every single day? And is it really good for your health? Or are you accidentally pushing yourself into a corner? It's a question that keeps so many people up at night, and I see it constantly in my inbox. The hidden anxiety about whether you're normal or if you're somehow falling behind on an imaginary scorecard. As Dr. Emma, I've heard this from people in every phase of life, and the truth is, the answer is a straightforward yes. You can certainly be intimate every day if that's what feels right for you and your partner. But here's the piece of the puzzle that almost everyone misses. Just because you can do it every day doesn't mean it's always the best thing for your specific relationship. In my experience as Dr. Emma, I've learned that the most vital factor isn't the number on the calendar. It's the quality of the connection and the level of genuine enthusiasm behind it. Have you ever wondered why that daily rhythm feels so natural at the start of a relationship, but starts to feel like a chore a few years down the line? It's a pattern I've watched happen hundreds of times. When you first meet someone, your brain is flooded with dopamine and oxytocin, making that frequency feel effortless. But as life settles in, work stress, fatigue, and the natural ebb and flow of hormones start to play a much bigger role. When people sit across from me in my office, they often feel a sense of shame when they realize they can't replicate that early intensity. One thing I tell nearly every couple who enters my office is this: stop trying to force the river to flow uphill. Your relationship isn't broken because your drive changes. It's just evolving. Most couples I work with run into trouble the moment intimacy turns into a performance. Think about it. Have you ever felt like you were just going through the motions to keep your partner happy? Or perhaps because you felt guilty for saying no? That's where the trouble starts. In my experience as Dr. Emma, I've seen that the minute you start viewing sex as a task to complete rather than a way to connect, you're eroding the very intimacy you're trying to build. Consent isn't just about saying yes. It's about both of you being genuinely present. If one of you is just doing their duty, you aren't really connecting. You're just filling a gap. But that's not even the surprising part. What shocked me early on in my practice was realizing how much a lack of daily physical intimacy was actually being used as a scapegoat for other problems. I'll often have a couple tell me, if we just did it more often, we'd stop fighting. But then, when we really look at the situation, it turns out they don't know how to talk about their finances, or they haven't shared a laugh in months, or they feel completely invisible to one another. You can't fix a communication gap in the bedroom. If your relationship is struggling, increasing your frequency might feel like a quick fix, but it's really just a temporary distraction from the real work that needs to be done. Think about the physical reality for a moment. Your body is not a machine that can just produce high-level performance on demand. If you're pushing for a daily rhythm while you're exhausted, stressed, or dealing with physical discomfort, you're eventually going to hit a wall. As Dr. Emma, I've seen plenty of patients push through that wall until they're actually experiencing physical pain. And then they wonder why they feel a sudden, total loss of desire. That's your body speaking to you. If your intimate life ever starts to feel like a source of physical pain, you have to stop and listen to what your body is trying to communicate. It isn't a failure to take a break. It's a necessary step to restore your health. Another pattern I see again and again involves the mental health side of high-frequency desire. There are times when someone feels like they need to be intimate every single day, or even multiple times a day, to feel okay in their own skin. If that sounds familiar, I want you to pause and ask yourself if this is about your partner or about your own need to manage anxiety. Sometimes we use intimacy as a tool to drown out our own internal noise, to stop ourselves from feeling lonely or stressed. If you find that your need for sex is becoming a distraction from your life, or that you feel a sense of panic when it doesn't happen, it might be time to look at the emotional root of that drive. It doesn't mean you're broken, but it does mean you're using your intimate life as an emotional crutch. And that's a conversation worth having with a professional. What happens when you and your partner are on totally different pages regarding frequency? This is the situation I probably get the most questions about as Dr. Emma. One of you wants to be close every night, and the other feels completely tapped out by the end of the day. This isn't a winner-takes-all scenario. It's an opportunity to get creative about how you define intimacy. Maybe the high-drive partner needs to understand that a hug, a back rub, or just holding hands is a meaningful way to stay connected, while the lower-drive partner might work on being more open about their capacity for a more physical connection. It's a negotiation, not a demand. One thing I have noticed as Dr. Emma is that the most successful couples are the ones who can openly say, I'm not feeling up for the physical side tonight, but I love you and I'm so happy to just be here with you. That level of honesty is incredibly powerful. It takes the pressure off and lets both people feel safe. When your partner knows that you still love and want them, even when you aren't in the mood for the full act, that security makes it so much easier for desire to return on its own. Most people never realize that the best moments of connection are often the quiet ones. It's the way you look at each other over dinner, the way you support each other through a difficult day at work, or the way you remember the small, silly things that make your partner smile. If you fill your day with those small, thoughtful moments, the physical side often becomes much easier to manage because you've already built a sense of trust and closeness. You aren't constantly fighting to get back to baseline because you've been cultivating it all day long. What if you tried something different this week? Instead of focusing on a specific number, try to focus on just being truly present with your partner. Try to have one conversation where you aren't talking about work, chores, or the kids. Just something that makes you both feel seen and heard. Watch how that changes the energy in the room. As Dr. Emma, I've seen this one simple shift save more relationships than any technique or guide ever could. When you focus on the connection, the rest usually falls into place. I also want you to consider that life has seasons. There will be months where you're both full of energy and everything feels aligned. And there will be months where you're just trying to keep your heads above water. That is not a sign of a failing relationship. It's just the reality of life. The couples who make it through the tough seasons are the ones who can look at each other and say, we're in a dry spell, and that's okay. We're still a team. That perspective is what gives you the resilience to keep going. When I sit down with patients, I often have to remind them that intimacy is a marathon, not a sprint. If you burn all your energy in the first few years by forcing a pace you can't maintain, you're setting yourself up for burnout. The goal is to build a rhythm that you can keep up with for 10, 20, or 30 years. That means being gentle with yourselves. It means recognizing that your needs will change and that the relationship you have in your 40s will look different than the one you had in your 20s. And that is a beautiful thing. Are you holding on to an idea of how things should be? Or are you embracing the reality of your relationship as it exists right now? Because I've found that the more we try to force our lives into an ideal, the more unhappy we become. Embrace the version of your relationship that you're living in today. If you're happy with a daily routine, own it and enjoy it. If you're happy with a less frequent pace, own that too. There is no right or wrong answer here, as long as you are both feeling respected, desired, and happy. If you're wondering how to talk to your partner about this without it feeling like a criticism, I've got some specific strategies I want to share in my next video. It's all about creating a safe space for those big, sometimes awkward, but ultimately necessary conversations. Being able to talk about your needs is the most important skill you can ever develop as a couple. It's the difference between a relationship that feels like a struggle and one that feels like a partnership. I'm really curious to know what your experience has been with all of this. Have you ever felt that silent pressure of expectations? Or have you found a way to talk about your needs that brought you and your partner closer together? Please share your story in the comments below, because your experiences might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. Building this community is so important to me, and I love seeing how you all support one another. And if you found this breakdown helpful, please consider subscribing. We're going to be talking about a lot more of the real-world, everyday questions that surround intimacy, communication, and emotional growth. I'm Dr. Emma, and I'm so glad you spent this time with me. Always remember that the most important relationship you have is the one you're building with your partner, and that it's okay to take your time, be kind to each other, and grow at your own pace. Stay curious, stay honest, and I'll see you in the next one.